morning. Happy Monday. That music got a little bit more like, I don't know, very intense there at the second, but good morning. Imagine you have a boat rowing across the water and you look down and you see water at your feet. You're like, that water's not supposed to be there. I need to do something about that. You start looking around your boat, like, oh, I found a bucket. So you take that bucket and you just bucket the water right out of the boat. Not too much water. It's a little bucket, right? But it's not a lot of water because you just notice it. So you can use a little bucket because it's not a lot of water. You bucket it out and you're like, well, I'll keep this around. Might come in handy. So you put your bucket away and you keep rowing, and then you look down and then there's more water, and you're like, well, let me get my trusty bucket again. And you just start bucketing the water out your boat. Okay. So you put your bucket away. You keep rowing, and now the water's coming back, and you're like, well, I'm getting real tired of bucketing water out of this boat. Like, that's getting old. You know what? I think I can just live with a little bit more weight on my body. I mean, water in the boat. I think I can live with a little bit more water in the boat. And you just let it come up a little bit more. Now it's starting to get over to your shoes. You're like, this ain't working, but I'm sick of, with this little bucket, it's just taking for damn ever. Let me look around the boat. So you're looking around the boat. Oh. I found another bucket. You're like, hey, this is a good bucket, right? So you take your bucket. It's a bigger bucket, right? I mean, I feel like this bucket needs a name though. Let's use it first though. So we use it. We get all the water out the boat. It's real easy, right? It works real well. So now we need to get the water out of the boat. So I want to name this bucket, right? It's a good bucket. We're gonna call this bucket Weight Watchers. All right, this is the Weight Watchers bucket. I like this bucket. So you're gonna take this bucket. This was my old favorite bucket. This is my new favorite bucket. So keep rowing. And the water's coming back, but it's like, I don't need to worry because I got this new bucket. I can let the water come back, no problem, right? So the water's coming back. You're like, all right, well now it's starting to get kind of high again. All right, time to engage the Weight Watcher bucket, and you just whoosh, and you're just getting all the water out your boat with your new bucket. And I mean, this bucket's heavier than the other bucket, but it gets the water out a lot faster. So I can let the water get in. It's not a problem, right? When the weight gets on my body, the water gets in the boat because I'm going to bucket it out. But of course, it's like, I'm going to keep going, and I'm just like, I'm getting sick of all this bucketing. Last time I had this little bucket, and I went to this bucket, and this one was nice because it made it where I could let more water get in and get it out just as fast. Let's keep looking around. How about this bucket? We got ourselves. Look. This Weight Watchers bucket is a good bucket, but this is a bigger bucket. I can remove more water with this bucket. So now what do? Let the water get in. Whoosh, whoosh. Oh, this is a good bucket. I need to name this bucket. We're gonna call this one intermittent fasting. All right, this is the intermittent fasting bucket. So I'm bucketing all the water out my boat. This is a good bucket. I was using this little guy, but this one's better. I could lose the whole bucket in this bucket. This is a good bucket. This is my new favorite. So, but of course, you're rowing, and the water keeps coming back in your boat every time you stop rowing. But it's okay because I got this good bucket. And it gets a lot of water out of my boat. Anytime I put fat on my body, water in my boat, I just bucket it out. And you just keep rowing. The water's coming back, and you're like, getting real tired of all this bucketing. What am I going to do? Let me just put my thinking hat on. Let's really think about the problem. The problem is I'm bucketing, and I got water in my boat. And I got this bucket, and I know the problem. Oh yeah, yep, this is it. I found it. I needed a bigger bucket. I've been using all these little old mamby-pamby buckets. Like I've been knowing, I know how you lose weight. This is how you lose weight, right? Because I got all this water on my boat. I need a bigger bucket. I don't need this little bucket's no good because this water keeps coming back. I think this bucket needs a name. We're gonna call this one Keto, right? That's a good name. Or maybe. Oh, here we go. Or maybe we'll call it Shakes, right? One of them Shakes diets only eat like 800 calories a day. The Keto Shake bucket, right? And it's just like, whoosh, oh my God. I mean, it's heavy, but it's like, wow, I can get a lot of water out of this boat with this bucket. This is a good bucket. I like this bucket. Well, now I don't need to worry about water getting in my boat, right? Because I got my big bucket. But it's just like, well, that bucket doesn't even fit underneath there. It's so big. It's like I got all these big old buckets. But it seems like no matter how good my bucket is, no matter how great this bucket is getting water out of the boat, it don't seem to be doing nothing about the water getting into the boat. It seems like I don't have a bucket problem. It seems like I have a problem with holes in my boat. I think there's a problem. I got a hole in the boat problem, not a bucket problem. This is a good bucket. I actually got several buckets. I mean, you could almost say I'm like an expert in losing weight. I've tried all these different ways of bucketing water out of a boat. Like I got all sorts of buckets. And then, of course, person comes up to me. They're like, well, good sir, I've noticed you seem to be bucketing water out of your boat endlessly. Yes. The water just keeps coming back. I got no choice. I got a whole bunch of buckets. I got a water in my boat problem. So the solution is buckets. And this good person's like, good sir, have you ever considered plugging the holes in your boat? What do you mean plugging the holes in my boat? Well, good sir, I just couldn't help but notice you have been bucketing endlessly. Years, in fact, decades, you've been bucketing water out your boat. Just almost kind of wonder, makes you think. If you'd have just plugged the holes the first time, and anytime a new hole showed up, you plugged it, wouldn't you have only ever needed the little bucket? Because it wouldn't have ever been that much water? To which, the person rowing the boat's like, well, that makes a lot of sense. Huh. Maybe it's okay that I have a bucket, but maybe just bucketing the water out of my life isn't doing anything about the water getting in. Right? This is what I started thinking of, as I'm really looking at and trying to wrap my mind around weight loss. Because I discovered I didn't have a weight loss problem. I've never had a weight loss problem. In fact, I'll bet many of you have not ever had a weight loss problem. You've had the same problem I've had. The same one I've had. And that is, you've had a weight gaining problem. I mean, isn't this it right here? A weight gaining problem? Anytime you're not losing weight, you're gaining weight. That's what it was for me. Anytime I was not actively dieting and losing weight and pushing it down, the weight was coming back up. When I thought of it, like when I realized it for the first time, it was so obvious. I mean, I still remember the first month-ish as it just kind of kept coming around my brain. It's like, I have a weight gaining problem, not a weight loss problem. I have a weight gaining problem. I'm 34 years old. Why am I just now figuring this out? Why has nobody said this to me before? This seems obvious. Like, obvious. So if I have a weight gaining problem, okay. But then why is everybody giving me buckets? Right? I mean, it's obvious. We have a weight gaining problem, and yet you go out there and everybody's offering you buckets. It's because supply and demand, right? Like, we're all looking for a quick fix. I was always looking for a quick fix. Weren't you? Weren't you? Here, those of you that are live right now, I know we got several of you live. Do me a favor. Just here in the chat, tell me. Give me a 1. If, oh, these are from, yeah, give me a 1. Wow, I just totally lost my train of thought. Oh, wow. I pulled that up and it had a comment, and I was like, how do I make the comment go away? And I looked down to read my buttons, and the thought just flittered away. So if you remember what I was saying, give me a 1 and tell me what I was saying. I have a weight gaining problem. Well, I ain't ever tried to solve that before. I don't know that I'd put any focus on that. A weight gaining problem. Oh, quick fixes. Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for that. Yes. Oh, and hold on, let me fix this. I don't know why it does this. Like, y'all are watching. I will fix this, and then I'll come back to it at a random week. I will have changed nothing, updated nothing. All automatic updates are turned off on this rig, and just it does that. So weird. But Joseph, yeah, squirrel has entered the chat. Yeah, my squirrel brain. But quick fixes, right? I was always looking for a quick fix. I was always still looking for a quick fix. I was always looking for a quick fix. And because I was looking for a quick fix, I was looking for, like, there's water in my boat. How do I fix the water in the boat now? I wasn't going, there's water in my boat. How do I make sure the, water doesn't get back in the boat once I got it out? It's the whole concept of what's next, which I have on my shirt. And in the same font, I have the tattoo. Actually, the font for the tattoo came first, then the shirt. What's next? I have what's next tattooed on my arm. It's to remind myself that something's coming next. And there's a lot of philosophies and thoughts that go with it. It's an anchoring thought for me. But one of them is, okay, you're going to deal with the water in your boat, but what's next? Like, what's going to happen after that? Many of us, what we don't do is we don't just use our conscious noggin and look ahead like 2 or 3 steps. It's not that complicated. But we don't do it. So I love to play chess. Anybody that plays chess knows, like, better chess players are thinking several moves ahead. They're planning several moves ahead. And I realized with my weight loss journey, I wasn't planning several moves ahead. So it's like I would just bucket the water out of the boat. But, for me, I was like, I got some willpower. I got to lose this weight. I got to get it all off before I quit. Because I knew, like, I started every diet. It was a race against my willpower. How much weight can I lose before my willpower to bucket water comes out? So it's like, if I know I'm not going to do this very long, am I going to use a bucket this size or a bucket this size? Well, I'm going to use that bucket because this one's going to be faster. But the thing is, it's because in the back of my mind, I always knew that the moment I stop trying to lose weight, I'm just going to gain it back. Not immediately, like not overnight. I never had that expectation. It's just, that's what always had happened. I'd gain my weight back. Get off, sandal. I don't want to wear my sandals anymore. So the crazy thing is, I started plugging the holes in my boat. And then I didn't need to bucket so much, which was funny. Hold on, I'm drawing a boat. I'm going to draw the best boat you ever done saw. Actually, I'll let you see me draw it. There you go. There's our boat. There's our water. I'm an award-winning artist. I'm not. But you see, we got these holes in our boat. And so the water is coming through those holes and filling up our boat. Now, some people might be like, well, how do you plug holes in your boat? What do you do about these? Well, there's also, first part of it is identifying what kind of hole do you have, right? And sometimes you just got to stop the water from coming in and then work on your more permanent fix on the boat. But like, let's take a look at this hole in our boat. What might this hole in our boat be? Well, this one could be, oops, that's too thick of a pen. Let's do this. Stress eating at night. Okay. Stress eating at night. That's one of the holes in the boat. Okay. Well, so it's like, all right, well, how do I plug this hole in my boat? Like, where do I go get a patch kit for the stress eating at night hole? Different kind of hole, right? Well, we have to approach it like we would anything. So let's take our hole. Stress eating at night. All right. The first thing you must do when you are seeking to plug one of these holes, and again, different holes, different strategies and solutions to go along with it. Hold on, I'm going to tidy up my space. Or let's tidy. I'm going to rearrange it. Since I'm doing a little bit more writing for this one, I'll make it easier on my wrist. I'm trying to take care of that. So, stress eating at night. What do we do to deal with this? Well, the first thing we need to do is go, how come? How come I'm doing this? Let's say I'm stress eating at night. Well, I think the first thing is we're looking for cause and effect. And what we know is the stress eating at night is the effect. So we can see stress eating, effect. What is the cause of the stress eating? We could simplify it even more. So we're just going to say the effect is stress, which in turn is the cause that leads to eating, which is the effect, which is in turn the cause of weight gain. So we're just working backwards. So remember, every effect has a cause, and every cause just about is also an effect. So we just work our way backwards. Weight gain, cause. I'm eating, okay, too much. What is the, or here, let me doodle with this. So I'm weight gain. What is the cause? The cause is I am eating more than I need to, okay? What is the cause of the eating? Stress, okay? If stress is the effect, what is the cause of the stress? We just begin working our way backwards. And so we're looking here, the cause of the stress. Let's say the cause of the stress is your job situation. Your job situation. It's causing you to stress. By the way, have y'all noticed that my the thing I hold my drink in is a trash can? I've had this a little relic from my previous career in commercial cleaning. I have little random tchotchkes like that. That was one of my favorites. Anyway, so the job situation. But again, we could go even deeper back, further back, all right? So this is the effect. So we have a stressful job situation, and then you begin to work your way back to see what it is. But you see how what we did there? We just took the hole in the boat, the thing, stress eating, what is causing it? And then we looked at that, what is causing that? Then we looked at that, what is causing that? The beauty of when we're looking at cause and effect, so we're just going to do C and E. This is so simple, y'all. Like, this is obvious. This is like, I know as soon as I'm saying this, you're going to be like, Chris, this seems obvious. Like, but the obvious stuff is the most important stuff. And the obvious stuff is the stuff we don't think about. Like, to me, stop just plug the holes in your boat and you won't need to lose weight, right? Like if you solve your weight gaining problem, you won't need to lose weight. You have a weight gaining problem, not a weight loss problem. If you totaled up all the weight you've ever lost over the course of your life, for many of you, you're like me. You're like, I've lost more than I weigh. Like there's a lot. I've lost a lot of weight. Like there'd be none of me left if I didn't gain weight back, right? Many of you know, you're like me, you know how to lose weight. But what you don't know how to do is not gain weight when you're not actively losing. It's so obvious, right? But you don't think about it. I wasn't thinking about it until I was 34. And then I had to keep thinking about it. And I still have to keep thinking about it. Gaining weight is happening for a reason. So again, coming back to this. So this is the obvious stuff, but we need to update the model we use for thinking. So the effect is let's do a different color. I am overweight. What is the cause? Weight gaining. It's not dieting. It's not, I didn't stick to my diet. No. The cause is weight gain. Okay. So what is the effect of being so if being overweight is the effect, remember, it is also the cause of the next thing. So when I am overweight, what is the effect that happens for me? Well, there's lots of different ones. We'll just pick one. We'll just say I go on a diet, which is the cause of something, which leads to the effect. So I don't want to go on these. I didn't like going on diets. Do you like going on diets? I bet you don't. Like, I ain't ever met a person that's like, gosh, I'm just so excited to underfeed myself and move a lot more than my body wants to just to make myself lose some body fat. Yeah, that's just going to be so much fun. I love having food I like eating and being hungry and having to say no to it just because that's what's required to lose weight, right? It's like a person saying, I love getting out of debt. Like, I love I love the act of getting out of debt. I love saying no to things that I normally would be able to afford. Yeah, that's super fun. I like not getting to go on a vacation. Like, no, like the act of getting out of debt kind of sucks sometimes. We want the effect. We want what comes after, right? That's what we're holding on to. So we do this is working our way backwards. So if I don't want to diet anymore because fuck weight loss as a way of living, right? I don't mind doing it for several years, but I don't want to do it forever. I already did the diet bullshit for 20 some odd years. That is lame. So it's like, all right, we got to work our way backwards. So why do I need to go on a diet? It's because I'm overweight. Okay. And what a lot of people do is they're like, well, why am I overweight? Because I didn't stick to my diet. Why am I not sticking to my diet? Because I'm overweight and there's something wrong with me. Why am I overweight? Because we just get stuck in this right here. It's like, let's go back. All right. So why am I overweight? Because I'm gaining weight. All right. Well, great. Why am I gaining weight? Because I didn't stick to my diet. So we make it where this is the cycle. I go on a diet, then I fail. Except that's not really what happens. What actually happens? What is the effect of the diet? Weight loss. I mean, if you do it, it's weight loss. Well, what is the weight loss the cause of? Right? Like, how do we find ourselves back? If I'm losing weight, why do we keep finding ourselves going back here? Because we never actually dealt with the real problem. Because we don't see that the way we diet, when we lose weight, if we didn't work our way back and go, wait a minute, what happened over here? The water keeps coming in the boat. You see, what ends up happening is we keep looking at, I keep gaining weight, and we're now optimizing all of this. This is bucketing water out the boat. Everything over here is the bucketing the water. And don't get me wrong, when you wake up one day and find yourself overweight, you're going to have to go on a diet at some point in the future to get it off. It doesn't have to be a traditional diet like you might think of in your mind, but you're going to have to undereat for a prolonged period of time. That's just the price. That's just what it takes. If you wake up one day and find out you're in debt, you're going to have to say no to a lot of purchases, and you're going to feel it for a while. That's just the price of success. That's just the price. But the price of fixing the problem doesn't necessarily mean it's the same thing that'll fix the problem. Sometimes the root cause of the problem requires a different solution. You wake up, you find yourself with a headache, and you take some aspirin to deal with the headache. That's great. You manage the symptom, the headache, but you haven't addressed what's happening with the cause. What if the cause of the headaches is chronic undersleeping due to being stressed from your job? Yeah, you're taking the aspirin every day to make the headache go away, but you have to keep taking it every day because the underlying cause, the trigger, so to speak, of the headache is remaining intact. And so for many of us, we're losing weight and we're leaving the holes of our boat intact. And of course, every time the aspirin wears off, metaphorical aspirin, the headache comes back. Metaphorical headache. It is water in a boat, which is a metaphor for fat on your body. I hope you probably got that, right? That the boat is you, the water is the fat, and the buckets are diets. I know you already figured that out, I hope. So what we must do is go, okay, I need to work backwards. So I woke up and I found myself overweight and I know I need to go on a diet, but we need to also investigate the root cause and make sure I'm designing a solution that is simultaneously addressing that. So let's come back to weight gaining. All right, well, it's just like a simple math formula. So if we can just replicate it, right? So if this is the C and every single one of them, it goes EC, EC, EC. All right, well, I guess here I can just go effect. Right? The weight gain is the effect of a cause. Well, what is the cause of the weight gain? Now, many of us, what we used to do, because we just didn't know any better, we would say, oh, it is processed foods. Okay, well, this is the thing. A lot of us, what we do is we just leap to the first thing that we see. What you must do, though, is when you're investigating is ask yourself, why? Why does this lead to that? Do that different color. Why does this lead to that? You have to crack that open and gain an understanding. And when you're looking at processed foods, you're like, okay, why does processed foods lead to weight gain? Well, let's kind of dig into it. What are some of the reasons why processed food leads to weight gain? Well, number one, it is hyperpalatable. Palatable, which in other words means it tastes really fucking good, right? Tastes really, really good. Even when you don't really want food, it tastes good, right? It has been scientifically engineered for your body to be like, this is good, okay? Why else does it work? All right, let's see. So there is usually low fiber or protein, usually, not always. What else? It's cheap. Okay, well, hyperpalatable, low fiber protein, it's cheap. Well, why does that lead to weight gain? That's just describing what processed foods are. How does that lead to weight gain? And then as you begin to dig into it, you might end up hopefully discovering the realization like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, I think I got this all wrong. I've been missing it. Oh, I see it now. And then as you're going through it, you're like, it's none of this. That's not what it is. That's not what it is at all. I see what it is. I see what the problem is. You might finally see what it is. And you're just like, I eat all the time. Oh, I'm gaining weight because I eat all the time. Well, again, working backwards. So if that's the cause, that means this is the effect. What is the effect of me eating all the time? What is causing me to eat all the time? You see how we're working our way backwards. Now I'm going to just, let me just cut to the punchline and tell you where this landed. When I was cracking this open and attempting to break this down and understand this in the beginning of my journey, where this led to was this understanding that I, myself, am a byproduct of my lifestyle, habits, routines, environment, community, and my belief systems. When I started looking at my weight gain, I began to realize that I am impacted by all of these. All of these I am impacted by. And not only that, what I didn't understand is you cannot, hold on, I'm going to finish the rest of the doodle here. You cannot change one of these without it also impacting all the others, not in a meaningful way. And so when you begin to change one of them, the others will try to pull it back. So when you go to begin trying to change your habits and your routines, but your environment and your community are set up in such a way, you don't really want to change it. It's too difficult. And so what you begin to realize is your lifestyle, habits, routines, environment, community, and belief systems are where is your boat. And this is where the holes are. And it is all of this that leads to you needing to lose weight. Your belief systems are why you need to lose weight. Your habits, your actual baseline all the time when you just don't give a shit, you're just living life on autopilot, depressed AF. Those are the habits that are making you gain weight. You have to change those ones. The ones that you do when you don't care. Those are the habits you have to change. Most of us, that's not what we're doing. We're like, I care. What are my I care habits I should change? It's like, no. I want to know about what are you, I don't give a fuck habits. What are those ones? Tell me those. We're going to change them. What's your I don't give a fuck habit? Oh, well, I come home and eat and watch TV and read books and I don't do anything all night. Great. We need to change that. What? That's my favorite habit. I hear you. That's your belief systems talking again. No, I got all my friends. I got to go. They're waiting for me online to play the games with them in the Overwatch, or they're counting on me. We got to pull ourselves out of bronze. It sucks. You got to have a good team. That's your community keeping you stuck. What? No, it's not. We got a vacation coming up this weekend. You can't tell. I don't give a fuck on vacation. That's fine. No one said you had to. What are you going to do when you're on vacation and you don't give a fuck? Well, I'm going to eat everything I want because it's vacation. It's like, that's what you got to change. What? I ain't changing that. If I change that, don't you understand? What am I supposed to tell my wife and kids? Huh? What am I supposed to tell them? They're expecting us to go out to all these great restaurants and have all these great desserts. You want me to tell them no? I'm not saying what you got to do. I'm just saying you got to change that. Well, I can't change that. Well, then I guess you can't. That's the stuff you got to change. The stuff you don't want to change, that's the stuff you got to change. Weight loss is easy, y'all. It's easy. Weight loss is easy. We have so many buckets that you can go get off the shelf that work like magic. Come out, bucket. You can go get yourself on that one of them GLP-1s now. And you don't even got to do the mental stuff anymore. It'll just do it for you. I mean, I ain't going to get everything done, by the way, because you know what a GLP-1 doesn't do? It don't change your I don't give a fuck habits. GLP-1 didn't change that. That's why when people go off the GLP-1s, you know what they do? They go back to their I don't give a fuck habits. And their I don't give a fuck habits are what gain weight. So the question is, whenever you're not trying to actively lose weight, what life are you going to go live? Did you change that one? Or did you just change the way you lose weight? Did you just get yourself a shiny new bucket? Oh, I got the slow and steady bucket. Yeah, it's the slow and steady bucket that this man Chris Terrell talks about. He says you should count your calories, but not all the time, just sometimes. He's actually real weird about it. He says to do it, but then he tells people not to do it. That doesn't make sense. He says you got to go out and exercise, but he also says that exercise doesn't matter and that walking's better. So you got to go out and get your 10,000 steps, but he also says that 10,000 steps isn't like some magic number, and 7,000 sometimes is fine, sometimes it's 12,000. It really depends. Wow, that guy really doesn't like to give you a specific way of doing things. But, he keeps coming. The only thing he ever seems to say you got to do all the time is be at a calorie deficit. I don't really like that answer because that answer sucks. That takes away all my bullshit excuses. That seems to be the only hard line he ever has is you got to somehow be in a calorie deficit. But I got myself my shiny new Chris Terrell bucket, the slow and steady way where I feel good about myself and I pat myself on the head when I don't do something right in the name of my goal, and I tell myself I did a good job, even though I did not do a good job. I did a bad job. I drank my water, so I'm on my path. I'm doing it. I haven't done anything else new in 4 months, but I'm drinking my water, and I got my shiny new Chris Terrell bucket. No, you just went and got yourself an itty bitty bucket that doesn't get a lot of water out. Don't get me wrong. I like this bucket. This is my preferred bucket for bucketing water out of a boat. You know why? Because it's really easy. This bucket's easy. It's easy. This is a good bucket. I like this bucket. It's just, that's not plugging the holes in your boat. That's the part that I need everybody to hear. It doesn't matter how good you are at losing weight. It doesn't matter how much weight you've lost. Do you have any idea how many people lose all their weight and gain it back? Yeah, most of them. Most of you, you're going to lose all your weight. If you haven't figured out how to not gain weight, you're probably going to be a statistic. And when I say a statistic, I mean the kind that gained your weight back. I'm in a study. I've been in it for years where they check in on me every couple of years about weight loss. Because people don't know how people keep the weight off. People have been trying to solve dieting. They've been trying to solve weight loss. But people aren't trying to solve how do you not gain weight. Because the answers for how do you not gain weight, they're not easy. They're not easy. I start off every episode of the podcast the exact same way. The exact same way. For a reason. For a reason. From the headquarters of the Guild of Champions, this is the Becoming Thin Podcast. And I'm your host, Chris Terrell. Welcome to another week of your weight loss quest. How did this last week go for you, champion? What new challenges did you encounter? But more importantly, what failure did you go through? What lesson did you get from that failure? Come on now. Don't let a perfectly good failure go by without you getting your lesson. That's your reward for your troubles. Now, if you're new here, I've lost 125 pounds myself after an entire adulthood of chronic yo-yo dieting. Up, down, up again. Before I finally got sick and tired of being sick and tired. Fat, and I made some permanent, meaningful, and actual changes to my real life fuck it lifestyle, to my real life fuck it routines, habits, community, belief systems, all of those. I just threw myself off doing it because it's all 6 of those things that created the results in my life, and it's all 6 of those things that create the results in yours as well. I say this every week because I'm trying to condition it into you every week. Lifestyle, habits, routines, environment, community, belief systems. Not the ones you're trying to do that are attached to your bucket, but what are the ones that you're trying to do attached to your I don't give a fuck life? When you're not trying to lose weight, when you've taken this bucket and you're done with it, what habits have you changed? When you are sad, have you changed your sad habits? When you are mad, have you changed your mad habits? Your community. What changes have you made? Have they felt it? If your community ain't feeling a subtle shift from you within them, if you don't notice a little tension in your community every now and then, unless you were the one sole and only fat person in your life, you ain't doing it. You should feel it. Your community will feel you pull away. They're wanting to go eat and you're like, no, I ain't gonna go eat because I already got goals. I got things I gotta do. What about your environment? Have you changed it? Does your world, not overnight, your world doesn't have to look different overnight, but if I take your world now and then go whoop, 6 months into the future, I should see a different environment. because you should have been slowly tweaking it and adjusting it, massaging it, making it just what it needs to be. Constantly iterating, because you ain't done. You woke up big yesterday. You woke up big today. You're going to go to sleep big. You're going to wake up big tomorrow. You're going to wake up big next month. You keep tweaking and tuning until you're done, until you have become thin. You just keep going. Or don't. Or you can just keep optimizing your bucket. You can just keep optimizing your bucket. See how that works for you. You see, I did that. I kept optimizing and optimizing until I finally ended up with the keto bucket. With one of the last great diets being one of them stupid shakes diets. But no amount of getting an amazing bucket will ever fix a single hole in your boat. No amount. So if you want to lose the weight and keep it off, you have to lose the weight by bucketing it out and then keep it off by fixing the holes in your boat. If you don't do part 2, I hope you enjoyed part 1, because you're probably going to do it again. And if you don't do part 2, plugging the holes in your boat, you're going to keep doing part 1, bucketing water out your boat. And that gets tiring. And more than likely, one day you'll just be like, fuck it, I'm done with my bucket. I'm just going to be fat. And you're just going to give up. You're just going to give up. So many people, that's what they do. 40, 50, 60 years old. I've been fat all my life. Why am I even fighting it? Why even try? I've done everything I can. It's useless and hopeless. I was just always meant to be fat. In fact, the thing that's making me miserable is my mental resistance to me being fat. And if I'd have just accepted that I'm fat, I wouldn't be so unhappy. So you know what? Fuck becoming thin. I don't want to be thin. I know I've always said I wanted it, but I don't know what I'm talking about. I want something that I can't have because all I've been doing is trying to bucket. I didn't even know about the holes in my boat, so I don't even care. I'm just going to have a boat filled with water. This sucker's going to sink, and so be it. At least I'll be happy, and I'll stop resisting, and I can have what I want. I've been saying no to food all this time, and I still keep gaining weight. Why am I saying no to what I want and not getting what I want? It's because you're not solving the right problem. It's like, you know what? This back right tire's flat, and I've been filling up the front left tire all damn day, and no amount of air I put in it is fixing the back tire. I don't understand. This is stupid. I'm just going to have a flat tire. It's like, what? The front tire, yes, is a tire, but it is not connected to the back tire. You got the right answer of working on tires, but you're not even doing the right tire. Like, that's what ends up happening. We're working on the wrong problem, and then it's not working. We're like, well, this is stupid. I don't know why I even try. You ever wonder why humans do that? Why will we do that? We will have a problem in our life, and rather than dealing with and understanding the problem, we pick a surrogate problem that is unsolvable, and we keep trying to solve that, saying, if I solve this, my problem will be solved. It's like, but they're not connected. And so, of course, it never gets solved. But the fact is, a lot of people don't want to change. They don't want to change. They don't know how. It's hard. They're going to have more setbacks than they'd care to endure. And their ego is so fragile, even though they might think it's not, that they can't handle constantly failing. Again, what do I say at the beginning of every podcast before the 6 forces of transformation? What lesson did you go through? Or what failure did you go through? And what lesson did you get from that failure? If you look at failure as something to be avoided, something to be danced around, gotten over, sidestepped, you're missing all the important teachings. You learn more in your failures than you do in your successes. But if you're unwilling to let yourself fail, you don't get the lesson. If you're unwilling to let yourself fail and then go look at the failure with objectivity, you won't get your lesson. And if you don't get your lesson, you're going to have to go learn it again. And again. And again. We're going to play something. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Tipping. This is from my dad. He kept an audio journal. And I've been thinking a lot about this little entry for a while. I'm going to play it for you. Let's play it now. Wait, why is it not playing? No, play. Is that text? Hold on. I forgot I transcribed it. Well, where is it? Pardon everybody. I appreciate your patience. Well, maybe I won't read it to you. All right. I could have swore I had this right here. 1 second. I'm going to... Come on. Let me go to where I think I would have saved it. Here on my iCloud. Oh, I guess not. Don't worry. I think I have another spot. Get to the right, right drive. Here we go. Tipping. There we go. All right.
Every mistake that we make on our journey of life is either looked at as a mistake, and that in itself is a big problem. The word should not even be used, but that's what our society uses. So the way that I will describe what it should be is a mistake is a tipping point. And it's an opportunity to look and pay attention to what just happened and learn whatever message it is that each of us individually are supposed to know. And once we do that, then that tipping point moves us into the direction we're supposed to be going. But if we don't catch that, then that tipping point is we will continue on that same path and make another mistake in a similar arena as the mistake we didn't quite learn from. May take a little longer, may take less time. There's no time frame to it, it seems like, once you sort of get decently good at not making them. But you're going to make that same mistake again. And it's going to come back and it's going to hit you in some way once again, because it's a tipping point. And either you turn around, you take a look, you turn back around, you look forward, you sort of get this aha moment, understood, okay, this is what I did, these are the decisions I made, this is what life brought at me, this is blah, 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 okay, so that's why this happened. All right, I do not need to learn this lesson ever again. And then we'll move on and not repeat that mistake. And the consciousness that it took for us to go to that mistake repeatedly, we've moved past.
So that's my dad. Hi, Dad. But I've been thinking about this a lot lately. A mistake's a tipping point. He would tell me this piece of advice a lot when I was younger. I didn't like it. The old man's right, though. I'll explain it in a picture form. But we have this mistake right here. Then we encounter it, this mistake, and then we go around again. Then we encounter the same mistake. Then we go around again, and then we encounter the same mistake. Then we go around, no, I did not mean to draw a circle. Then we go around and counter the mistake. Go around again and counter the mistake. And we just keep doing this until finally we learn what it is we need to learn and we continue on. And we move on again. The mistake is the important part. My dad was always trying to teach me this. And this is where it's led to a concept visually that I teach in the guild. It's called the success loop. But first we set a goal. And then we encounter failure. And then we do a root cause analysis. And we design a solution. Then we implement a solution and try again. And what ends up happening is we get stuck. And rather than dealing with the mistake again, we just give up and go back, right? So we're like, wee, 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 wee. And what my dad would always tell me is whatever this thing in your way is, a situation you haven't learned how to navigate, a person you haven't learned how to interact with, a problem you haven't figured out how to solve, a challenge of life that you haven't overcome, whatever it is, what's going to happen is life is going to continue to put it in front of you. And until you learn whatever it is that you need to learn, you're going to keep seeing that situation again and again and again. Until you learn whatever it is you need to learn, until your consciousness has been awakened enough that you see what it is that you have been missing the entire time. Like, I have a weight gaining problem, not a weight loss problem. Like when you finally see it for the first time, now you've learned the lesson. And I haven't needed to go on a big weight loss journey ever since. I've learned it again. I've done everything I need to do. So I'm going to go back to what my dad was saying here in this thing near to the end.
Take less time. There's no time frame to it. It seems like once you sort of get decently good at not making them, but you're going to make that same mistake again, and it's going to come back and it's going to hit you in some way once again because it's a tipping point. And either you turn around, you take a look, you turn back around, you look forward, you sort of get this aha moment, understood, okay, this is what I did, these are the decisions I made,
doing
this
root
is
cause
what life
analysis.
brought at me, this is blah, 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 okay, so that's why this happened. All right, I do not need to learn this lesson ever again.
I do not need to learn this lesson
And we'll
ever
move on
again.
and not repeat.
And here's the funny thing, though, about life, is it looks not like this, but rather it looks like this. This is what life's here to teach you. Your weight loss journey, the reason why you have not lost the weight and kept it off is because you have not learned what it is you need to know. But understand, if your behavior doesn't change, you haven't learned it. Behavior must shift. Cognitive understanding alone isn't enough. There must be a behavior shift that occurs with that. Okay, we're going to wrap up here, everybody. Thanks for coming to the live stream. I don't know. I just felt the urge to talk about this stuff today, and so I did. So I appreciate you being with me as I do that. I'm going to wrap up here. Have a great rest of your week, everybody. Go crush your weight loss goals. Go encounter failure. Go get a lesson for your troubles and continue on again. And also, take a look at your I don't give a fuck life. Have you started changing those habits? See you next week.